Hi, I'm Niall Ash. I'm currently restoring a Renault 5 Turbo Maxi. So in the Group B rallying, they needed something that would they couldn't compete in the front wheel drive category, so they needed something that could compete rear wheel drive. So they produced the Renault 5 Turbo 2, and then this is just a variant of that. So the standard Turbo 2 was a 1397cc engine. The Maxis was a higher output and a larger engine. So they built 200 of the Maxi so they could compete with a bigger engine. And this is one of those 200. So I've always liked Renaults. I've always been into Renault 5s. I've had 13 or 14 Renault 5 GT turbos. I've still got one now, which I've done various work on, restoring from bare shells, engine conversion, stuff like that, for the last 20 years. And I've had Clio V6, which is sort of the predecessor of the Turbo 2. So I've always been into classic Renaults, and this is obviously the ultimate classic Renault, so I've wanted one for years. When the prices have gone ridiculous, and just getting hold of one's very difficult. Let's say it's probably 6 years I've had this. When I bought it, it was a complete wreck. It was just a rusty shell. It looked like it had been on the seabed for 10 years. There had no floor in it, it was a total mess. So the car itself is was bought as a jigsaw puzzle, really. A lot of parts in boxes, and like I say, a really rusty shell. So a lot of the rebuilding of the car has been taking it apart, remaking body panels from scratch, and then putting it back together. Basically, on a lot of the bits, I'll cut the old part out, whatever's left of it, unpick the spot welds, cut it out, and then draw it up on a piece of cardboard, and then I can scan that in, put it into CAD, and then create a laser pattern, and I can get them laser cut, and then I bend them. It's quite a long-winded way of doing it, but if it's the only way you can do it, it's at least you're putting brand new parts in fresh metal. You don't want it to be starting to rust again in 5 years' time. From that, once I had a solid shell, I then shot blast the whole car, primed it with like an etch primer, anti-rusting primer, and then painted the car, fit the body kit, so that there's paint underneath the body kit, because previously from Renault they weren't, which is why they rusted so bad. And then basically started the process of putting it back together, which I'm still a long way from doing. These cars were made from a standard Mark 1 Renault 5, and then they went to Renault Dieppe and they converted it to rear wheel drive and put all of the parts on. So a lot of the parts were just handmade by them, they weren't mass produced components, so nobody's got stock of parts sitting on a shelf anywhere that you could go and buy 40 years down the line. I need to buy some big ticket items, so I need suspension, running gear, wishbones, wheels, which are really expensive parts. The engine needs to be fully stripped down, checked and rebuilt, and then the car also needs finishing and painting. I don't want, whereas my GT Turbo is sort of high performance, 400 horsepower, crazy thing, I want this to be fairly standard, so I'm hoping it should be a bit more civilised, or as civilised as that could kind of be, So there was only 200 produced of the Maxi, so it's going to be a little less refined, so it doesn't have airbags and stereo and all that sort of stuff, so it is going to be a little bit noisy. Performance wise, they were pretty quick out the box anyway, so be quite an interesting car to drive. And in terms of style, I want to do it in the Diac Racing livery, which is quite a nice gold and black in yellow and silver, so it'll look like the period car. People, probably the younger generation, won't even know what it is. It just look like a car with a body kit on. It is just a quirky car, it is you would never ever see one on the road, so it's the car itself is just bizarre. Left-hand drive is quirky, engine sitting behind you making all sorts of noises, and so it's there's all sorts to it. There's nothing normal about the car, I don't think, to be honest. It's lightweight, fiberglass body, aluminium roof and doors, so it's built for racing. That's what it's for. So it's a road car version of their race car. So it should be quite interesting when it's finished.